Hi, my name is Christine, and this is the legend of the Shark Man from Hawaii. Long, long ago on the big island of Hawaii, there lived a beautiful girl named Kalei. And Kalei had the longest, darkest hair and the most beautiful skin. But not only was her beauty well renowned, she was the best diver and the best swimmer out of all of her people, and perhaps out of anyone in Hawaii. And each night she had a ritual where she would go down by the sea and bathe under the moonlight. And one night as she did this, the Shark King swam near the surface, and he laid eyes on Kalei, and he knew in that moment that he had to have her. So he swore to himself that the next day he would shapeshift into a human, for he had that power, and find the beautiful Kalei. And the next day he did just that. He transformed himself into a chief with beautiful feathers and roamed Waipio village looking for Kalei. And he found her, and he charmed her, and he wooed her, and they fell in love. And soon they married and were to have a child. But the Shark King knew that his time as a human was coming to an end, and he feared for his wife and his unborn child. So he said to Kalei, "I must leave you soon, my love, but you must be brave. When it comes time to give birth to our son, you must go far away, and you must make sure you are alone. You must do this for me. And you must make sure he never tastes animal flesh of any kind. It is just very important, Kalei. You must listen to me." And he kissed Kalei goodbye, and he slipped into the ocean, and the lovers never saw each other again. On the night Kalei was to give birth to her son, the winds whipped across the land and the sky thundered. But she was brave, and she did as her husband said. She went to a quiet place across the island, and she gave birth. Little Nanaui was born as the storms raged across the island, and Kalei looked down at her son, and she saw that he was as beautiful as her. But when she turned him over, she saw that he had a gaping hole in his back, and she started to cry. "My son! My son!" And then she heard her husband's voice in the back of her head, "Be brave, my love." So she dried her eyes. And she put a cape around Nanaui so the villagers would not see his deformity, and she held her son closely. And she tried to keep him from eating animal flesh. But you see, in those times, the men and the women dined separately because of a taboo. So when Nanaui was old enough to be separated from his mother, his grandfather would take him to eat with the men. And his grandfather cared not for the mother's rules, and fed him all kinds of meat in hopes of him becoming a great, strong warrior. He did not know. And the first night that he fed him meat, he brought him back to his mother Kalei. And when she took his cape off, she saw that he had grown teeth in his back in the hole. And she was frightened, and she was scared and sad. But she put the cape back on him and said nothing, and loved him just the same. And as Nanaui grew, so did the shark in him. When he was younger, he used to transform into a shark and eat the little fish around him. But when he was almost a man, he did his usual swim and transformed into a shark, and one of his friends disappeared. Nanaui had eaten him. And each time Nanaui went swimming, someone would disappear. And soon the villagers started to wonder, why is Nanaui okay? Why is he never hurt? He is always around when it happens, but But somehow he is always fine. They did not suspect he was a shark, though. They thought maybe he had magical powers. So they began to watch him and gossip about him. And one day when he was at home and he had taken off his cape, a village boy saw him, was spying through the window and saw him. And he ran back to his parents. "Nanaui is a shark! Nanaui is a shark!" And the villagers were angry, so they chased after Nanaui. But Nanaui was a shark, so he ran into the water and escaped. And he swam to the Hana side of Maui, where he tried to curb his desire for human flesh. He met a chiefess, and they fell in love and married. But he could not eat meat. And soon the desire was too strong, and he kidnapped a girl and ate her in plain sight. And again, the villagers of Maui were angry, and they chased him to the sea, but he escaped again. He transformed into a shark and swam off, and this time he went to Molokai. But this time, the legend of the Sharkman had spread far and wide among the islands. So the villagers of Molokai watched the newcomer closely. He tried to curb his desire once again, but try as he may, he could not. And one day, when he thought no one was watching, he transformed into a shark. But they had seen him. So they got in their boats, and they surrounded him, they surprised him, and they snared him in their nets, and they beat Nanaui until the blue water turned the color of red lava. And they chanted his name, "Nanaui! Nanaui!" until they were sure he was dead and he had grown weak and stopped moving. Or at least they thought he was dead. If you ask the people of Hawaii today, they will say, on most days, yes, Nanaui has been dead a very long time. But sometimes, just sometimes, when someone disappears, the rumors will start again. Is Nanaui still alive? Perhaps he walks among us. The end.